Hello, I thought we'd look at some cross chording in the left hand in this piece because I stopped playing the accordion to take up the melodeon, and the thing I liked about it was the limited chords it had and how you could combine the chords to make more interesting chords. Also I liked a lot of French music that moved from E minor to F, and that's a big jump from E minor all the way down to F, even though obviously E is next door to F on a piano. So I thought both to try and solve those things, and also because I like the pieces and the sound of cross chording, that I had to try the French music back on the accordion. So here are some tips, and again, I'm no expert, but these are the things I've been working out for cross chording. So you probably know by now that on buttons, this is a 72 button thing, that the front row are what we call counter basses. That's the third of the chord. It's just a single bass note. And the next row back is the true basses, and the next row back is the major chord, then minor chord, then we've got the seventh chords back there. But today we're just looking at the two basses and the major and minor chords in combination. So a basic C and a major chord. We know what that sounds like. But if we play the wrong major chord, so if we find the G and its major, so we're playing the major chord for G over the C bass, we end up with a ninth chord with a major seventh. So there's the C with its major chord. But if we move over to play the wrong major chord, that's like playing a C and a G chord. So there are good contexts when you want to play that chord, and obviously that's true of any bass and the next major chord up the way. So, or, and there are good times to use that. If we, in the C row, if we go to the E and use the wrong major chord, that gives us a minor seventh chord. So there's the C, there's the E, and there's the G chord. So it's an E bass with a G major chord. Now, even though it's a G major chord, when we combine it with the E, we end up with an E minor 7. And this is why. This is a G major chord. But when we put an E in the bass, we end up with an E minor plus the 7th. So G major is obviously very closely related to E minor. They share two notes anyway, E minor, G major. When we put them together, we end up with E minor 7. So what are major chords over here, when we combine them with different basses, become different things. So C, I'm just going to play a straight C major. Now E minor. So that's E with a G chord. So I haven't gone for the C and the major ninth. Just C and a straight major. E minor. And we can go the other way as well. So far we've been looking at basses and counter basses and going up to the wrong chords. But if we take there's C, if we take an F chord, but we play a D, so it's a roots D, so that's C, G, D, but we're going for a wrong chord on the low side, and that's going D would be there, so we're not playing a G chord, we're not playing a C chord, we're playing an F chord. So it feels like quite a long way down, but it's not really, it's quite comfortable to play. That's a D minor 7. So we've got D and FAC major chord. So that's exactly the same concept as an E with a G chord, but because of the basses and counterbasses, we can switch it around. So we're not having to jump all over the place, because we can use either the bass on this row and go down to a chord down here, or we can use a bass on this row and go up to a chord. So let's check that again. C major, ordinary C major. E minor, then D with an F chord. And those work really nicely together. And then, we can, after a D with an F chord, we can play a G with an F chord, which is a different sort of crunch. That's a sort of, well, here it is, G with an F chord. So it's, if you really want to know what it's called, we've got the added 7th in the F, the added 9th and the added 11th. So you could call it G11, but it's crunchy. So here are those chords again: a straight C major chord, then an E bass note on the counterbass line with a G chord, then the same concept but the other way around: a D with an F chord, a G with an F chord, and you might hear that wants to come down. So you could actually use a real G chord after that. So G11, G, and that's quite a nice chord progression just in itself. C, E with a G chord, D with an F chord, G with an F chord, with a G chord. It's a lovely little more complicated sort of chord progression. It's nothing complicated in itself. It's C, E minor, D minor, G, but with all the cross chordings we end up with a much richer sound. And once you've done, if you've got the E with the G chord, you can just move it down, and you've got A minor, so those chords are E minor 7 and A minor 7, very useful in either the key of C or the key of G, and they're right next door. So it's just a question of being comfortable about the finger shape. If you get the finger shape right, the fingers might find the chords themselves. So that's the bass, counterbass with the major chord, and you can move that down. Or you can find the D, and go the other way, and obviously you can move that around. So that's some nice cross chordings, and we'll have a look at a little tune with those chords in. So here's the right hand, the tune. The first two bars are quite easy. Again, one of the nice things about this tune is that you get lots of notes in the melody that clash with the chords, and that gives added interest. So it's sort of music I like. And this starts D, C, G, C, and that's a D. That's a C2 chord. D, C, G, C, and it's syncopated, so it goes. So apart from the first note, everything's in between the beats. and then simply the thumb drops down to the B. So we have, instead of a C2 chord, we've got a G chord. And that's over the E minor chord. So although it's G here, it's part of the E minor 7 chord. Exactly the same pattern apart from that one note change. And then we have something that is D minor based. It goes up from D, F, to E, and the E is a non-chord note. So D, F, E, D, and then walk down by step. So from the beginning, it starts on D, then the thumb moves down, and then thumb up again to D, and then little finger up to C. So here's the melody. It starts on D, but it's actually a C chord, so it's C2, and it's D, C, G, C. And that's all syncopated, so apart from the first note, all of the notes come between the beats. So if I was to play umpa by the left hand, everything would come between the notes. And then the thumb just drops to a B, and it's exactly the same. And this time that's a G chord here. The left hand, having played C, is now to play E minor. Now I've played that with the thumb here, and we're going to jump the thumb up to D for D minor, and it is a D minor melody, D minor chord, sorry. So it's D, F, then we jump to C and walk down by step. The whole thing so far. And then we have a sort of repeat. And then we jump all the way up to D. All by step. Until we get to the G. Once more the whole melody. Then we jump to the top D. That's the first section. And here again we have a really nice over D minor 7 bass. We have F, A, E, and that E is not part of the chord, which is nice. And it walks down. So F, A, jump up to E and walk down. That's a D minor chord in the bass. And you can hear the E clashes. So B, B, C, D. And then a nice straightforward C in the left hand, and over here we have low E, high E, low E, D, low E, C, and so on. C, B, A, so E. But here we're going to add a third below, so when we jump up, instead of just playing the E, we're going to have the C. So E and C together, D and B together, and then just C, B, A. So here's the tune from the second section. Then we have the first bit of that tune again. And then I just hold a C and an E together. going down to a D and a B slowly. So it's got some of the same shape. And the reason I do that is that because the chords are changing in the left hand. So C major, F major, which clashes nicely, and then to a G chord, and that takes us back. One of the tricks, I think, is to keep the gaps in the right hand rather than join. If we have that, it gives a little more punch to the rhythm. And it's okay if some notes don't speak. In the original recording, some of the notes are left out entirely. Or slightly ghosted, and that's where the real energy comes. So that's the right hand, and remember the chords are, for me, what make this interesting, and it's good to practice just trying those chords in a row. So find C, which I'm struggling to do, C. So let's have a look at the chords. On the first, we step forward for the E minor 7, and then reach for the D, 7, G with the F chord, with the G chord, C, step forward for the E minor, go for the D, and then the D in the right hand. You can either hang on to that G with the F chord or resolve. Sometimes it's nicer not to resolve. And then straight into the D. So that finger's staying on the F chord for both the chords. C, and then a big reach to A. And the reason I use that finger to reach for A and this finger for the chord is that that finger's already on the chord from C. So you might want to do C, reach forward for A, and play that C chord with that finger, but there's a danger that in swapping the fingers you might miss. So C, A minor, or C, and just reach for the A, keep the same fingering. C, F, G, C, D, G, C, E minor, D with the F chord, G with the F chord, maybe just keep it there, and then D, G, C, down to A, and the same again, D, F, G, C. I think it's really good chord sequence, and it's good to get used to this cross chording. You'll probably notice that my hand hasn't been changing shape, which I like. Good luck with that. Hope it's some use.